AGORACOM Talks, your weekly go-to source for all the best small-cap headlines. We're ready to jump into a new deep dive, and today we're focusing on companies making waves in some pretty diverse sectors. Everything from turning trash into treasure with Waste Energy Solutions to, digging for potential riches with some promising mining prospects. We'll be checking in on high-tech advancements, looking at climate risks analyzed with AI, and even taking a quick peek into the beauty industry. So, yeah, lots to cover today.
It's really incredible to see how these smaller companies are often the ones leading the charge. They're coming up with innovative solutions, tackling these big challenges that we're facing. And today we're going to explore what makes these particular companies stand out, why their stories matter to you even if you're not an investor right now.
Exactly. So let's kick things off with Waste Energy Corporation. They just secured their first waste-to-energy conversion site in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
And get this, the facility is planned to process about 30 tons of plastic waste every single day.
30 tons a day. That's a lot of plastic.
It is, and they're aiming to be fully operational by Q2 2025.
That's ambitious.
It is, but think about this for a second. In the U.S., only about 5% of plastic waste is actually recycled.
It's crazy how much plastic we use and just throw away.
And a massive 86% ends up in landfills.
Landfills are already overflowing.
Right. And globally, the problem is even worse. We generate over 400 million tons of plastic waste every year.
400 million tons.
And only 9% of that is effectively recycled.
So Waste Energy Corporation is really stepping up to try and tackle this huge problem.
Right.
But how are they planning to turn all that plastic into clean energy?
It's actually a pretty clever system. They're using a combination of pyrolysis and artificial intelligence.
Pyrolysis.
Yeah, pyrolysis involves heating the plastic to super high temperatures, but without any oxygen. So basically, it breaks down the plastic into different valuable products like gases and oils that can be used as fuel.
So instead of burning the plastic, they're breaking it down at a molecular level.
Exactly. And the AI comes in to optimize that entire process, making it more efficient and cost-effective.
So it sounds like they've got the technology figured out. But what about location? Did they pick a good spot for this facility?
Oh, absolutely. The Fayetteville site is strategically located along a major rail line, and it's also right by the I-95 corridor.
So easy access for transportation.
Exactly. Perfect for bringing materials in and shipping the final products out. Plus, it's ideal if they want to expand in the future. Imagine a whole network of these facilities all across the country, turning our plastic problem into a clean energy solution.
From trash to treasure. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about some potential treasure of a different kind. Great Atlantic Resources Corporation has been reporting some exciting gold and copper findings at their Golden Promise gold property in Newfoundland.
Yeah, they completed a trenching program there, and out of 13 rock samples, 11 of them showed gold values higher than R.1 grams per ton.
And what's the significance of that?
Well, those numbers are really encouraging in these early stages of exploration. They suggest that there's good potential for finding a commercially viable amount of gold there.
Commercially viable, so like a gold mine.
Exactly. And they also found some copper alongside the gold, which is great news because it could make the project even more profitable from an economic standpoint.
So they're finding gold and copper in the same place.
Yeah. In fact, one of the grab samples from an outcrop showed over 1% copper, which is a really good amount.
Wow, that's fantastic. And with gold prices staying strong, this could be a really good opportunity for investors interested in junior mining companies, right?
Right. It's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Okay, let's move on to a topic that's becoming increasingly important these days. AISIX Solutions has been using AI to analyze wildfire risk, and they've been focusing on smaller municipalities in Ontario.
And what's really interesting? They've identified Red Lake, Sioux Lookout, and Kirkland Lake as the areas facing the highest risk based on the historical data.
But those are areas that are already known for having forest fires, right?
True, but what's even more eye-opening is their prediction that by 2050, the places with the biggest increase in wildfire risk will be Assiginack, South River, and Huron Shores.
Wow, that's quite a shift from where the risk is concentrated right now.
Definitely. What do you think could be causing such a big change in wildfire risk?
Well, it's got to be climate change, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
We're talking longer, hotter, and drier seasons, plus way more unpredictable weather patterns. All these factors are creating the perfect conditions for wildfires to start and spread.
And this data from AI6 could be extremely valuable for so many people, right? From policymakers and insurance companies to people who are deciding where to buy a home.
Absolutely. It gives them the tools to make informed decisions about things like risk mitigation and resource allocation. It's a perfect example of how technology can be used to understand and prepare for some of the biggest challenges that we're facing.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about a company that's harnessing technology in a different way, PyroGenesis Incorporated. They specialize in advanced plasma processes, and they just came out with some really impressive revenue guidance for Q4 and the full year 2024.
Yeah, they're expecting to bring in at least $4 million in revenue in Q4 and at least $15 million for the full year, which is pretty amazing when you consider that this represents a minimum 22% increase in revenue compared to last year and a whopping 32% jump compared to Q4 2023.
So they're experiencing significant growth.
Definitely. And their CEO, Peter Pascali, attributes this success to two main factors: the company's strong momentum and a backlog of signed contracts that's worth over $58 million.
This sounds like they've got a solid foundation for continued success.
I'd say so.
And for our final stop on this deep dive, let's step into the glamorous world of beauty and cosmetics. FTI FoodTech International Incorporated has just launched a new brand called B Black, which is specifically targeted at the Black community.
This is a market with huge potential. In 2021, Black consumers in the U.S. spent $6.6 billion on beauty products. That's 11% of the $60 billion beauty industry.
Wow, that's a significant chunk of the market.
And projections show that if their market share grows to just 12.7% by 2025, that spending could hit $9.2 billion.
So FTI is smart to tap into this market.
Yeah.
And what's their strategy for B Black?
They're positioning it as a premium brand, and they're planning to work with brand ambassadors and influencers to connect with the Black community in a really authentic way. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out in such a fast-paced and dynamic market.
Definitely. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from waste to energy solutions to mining prospects, climate risk analysis, high-tech advancements, and even the beauty industry. What stands out to you from all of these different companies and stories?
Well, it's really striking how each of these companies in their own unique way is tapping into these important trends, and they're trying to create some real positive change in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring to see these companies taking action and coming up with solutions. I'm really intrigued by Waste Energy Corporation and what they're doing with that waste to energy technology.
It is pretty fascinating. Turning plastic waste into clean energy, like that could be a real game changer, especially with the sheer amount of plastic that's ending up in landfills right now.
It's definitely a problem that needs a solution.
For sure. And if they can scale their operation, make it work on a larger scale, it could really transform the way we deal with waste and how we produce energy.
And, it makes you think about the investment opportunities too.
Yeah.
Investing in companies that are developing these sustainable solutions.
Oh, absolutely. That's a growing trend for sure. Now, speaking of opportunities, those gold and copper findings from Great Atlantic Resources that we were talking about earlier, pretty exciting.
Yeah, if those early exploration results actually turn into a big discovery, it could be a really lucrative investment.
Yeah, it's still early days, of course. And, there's always a certain level of risk involved with the junior mining companies. But those copper values are definitely worth paying attention to. And the fact that gold prices are remaining strong makes it even more appealing.
Right, makes sense. So maybe something worth looking into. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the climate risk analysis that AI6 Solutions is doing. That's some seriously important work.
It is. It's pretty remarkable how they're using AI to predict and prepare for these major events like wildfires.
It really shows you the power of technology when it's used to tackle some of the biggest challenges that we're facing.
Definitely. And, as climate change continues to have a bigger and bigger impact on our weather patterns and ecosystems, this type of analysis is only going to become more and more critical.
It makes you wonder how this data could be used, to shape policy decisions, even how cities are designed and where people choose to live in the future.
It's already happening. Insurance companies are using this climate risk data to adjust their premiums. Real estate developers are factoring it into their projects.
Oh, wow. So it's already having a real-world impact.
And that trend is only going to continue.
Right.
Now, on a slightly different note, I'm pretty impressed with PyroGenesis Incorporated and how much they've been growing.
Yeah, their advanced plasma technology seems to be getting a lot of traction in a bunch of different industries.
Well, their revenue guidance is really strong, and they have that huge backlog of contracts.
Which is a good sign.
Definitely suggests that they're on a solid path to continued success.
It really is. It reminds you that some of the best investment opportunities are with companies that are developing these cutting-edge technologies.
Yeah.
The companies that are really pushing the boundaries.
For sure. And then there's FTI FoodTech with their new B Black brand venturing into the beauty market. That's a bold move.
It'll be interesting to see if they can capture a decent share of that market, which is growing so rapidly.
I think their strategy of targeting a specific niche is smart. Building those genuine connections with the community.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So yeah, stepping back and looking at all of these companies, it's really inspiring to see how they're tapping into these important trends and trying to make a positive impact.
I agree. It's amazing to see that entrepreneurial spirit. And, it reinforces the idea that even a small company can make a really big difference.
Exactly. So if you had to pick one of these companies to invest in, which one would it be and why?
That's a tough one. There's so many great options, but I think I'd be most drawn to AI6 Solutions. I mean, the work they're doing with AI-driven climate risk analysis, that's absolutely crucial. With the impacts of climate change becoming more and more evident, having that kind of data and predictive modeling, it's going to be so important for making informed decisions about the future.
Yeah, that's a great point. It could really change the way we approach everything from urban planning and infrastructure development to insurance and investment strategies.
Exactly. And it's not just about mitigating risks, it's also about identifying opportunities. Where to invest, where to build, where to focus our resources.
It's fascinating to think about how this technology could really shape the future. And it's a good reminder that, investing in these small cap companies, it's not always just about potential financial returns.
Right. It's about supporting innovative ideas and solutions that could have a real positive impact on the world.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into these really fascinating small cap companies, what's the key takeaway you hope our listeners will walk away with?
Well, for me, the biggest takeaway is that you don't have to be a giant corporation to make a real difference. These smaller companies, they're agile, they're innovative, they're often driven by this passion to solve problems and create positive change.
They're definitely proving that big ideas can come from anywhere.
Absolutely. Whether they're turning trash into treasure, or unearthing valuable resources, or analyzing climate risks, or developing cutting-edge technologies, they're showing us what's possible.
And for you, the listener, we encourage you to keep exploring these companies and others like them. Do your own research, stay informed about these emerging trends, and don't be afraid to think outside the box when it comes to your investment strategy.
You never know. You might just discover the next big thing hiding in plain sight.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.